Okay, this is a service on Gym Gear's M Sport bike by Prima Fitness. Okay, so to begin with, we check the pop pins. But they're all tight and everything is loose. Easily adjustable, and if they're not easily adjustable, we put some silicone spray on that. It's the same for the front end. What's that one change?
That's the handlebars for sliding.
Okay, that's slides it back and forth. Okay. Okay, and next we would check the pedal straps to make sure there's no damage or wear and tear. So if there is any wear and tear, which we can see there isn't, if there is any wear and tear, they would be replaced, which is pretty simple. Okay. Okay. Okay, now we would like to check the brake pad at this stage. So the brake pad is underneath here. That is the brake pad. So we can see it. We can see it as actually, it looks like it has no wear on it. So what are you doing there?
Checking for the tension.
Checking the tension. Let me stand back and get a full. Should do that again. Okay, and unlock the brake. And let it spin it. And do an emergency stop on it. There we go. There, that shows how good the M Sport braking system is. Okay, next we have checked that the seat is secure already. So we've checked that there's no rips or tears on it.
Check the actual seat.
And it's pretty strongly kept on. Okay, now if we can check the rubber feet and make sure that they're free underneath. So we can kind of tell by looking at them, but there's no wear and tear on the rubber feet. We can just see that by our eyes that there's no wear and tear. I think that's a bit of chewing gum or something on that, is it? Let me just remove that. So they sometimes have to be evened out
Bike steady.
to keep the bike steady, and you'll have to just mess around with that to get it right. Okay, the next stage we'll be checking the chain. So if we were
belt in this case.
Oh, it's a belt in this case. So what we would do here, what are we doing here?
Take the chain guard off to have a look at the belt.
And how do you do that?
Just remove the screws from the chain guard.
And is that just a normal screwdriver?
Star screwdriver.
That's pretty.
And when we take this up, we also check the flywheel for alignment and tightness.
Okay, we can check that now. So this is the chain guard you're removing now, I take it?
Yep. To get access to the belt.
To get access to the belt. belting system, which means it's a much quieter bike than some of its rivals. And that's the chain guard free, and you see the way that the pedal had to be. What way did the pedal have to be to take that off?
Pedal has the pedal line down here.
Okay, or facing backwards.
Or up here. It's just in order to twist the chain guard off.
To twist it off, usually, as you've seen, the pedal being back the way it makes it easier. So we can see the Kevlar belting here now. If we can get a closer image. So how can we tell if that is tight?
You check the play in it.
Okay,
All you want is an inch or two play.
So
you don't want that too loose.
You don't want it too loose, or you don't want it too tight.
No. You want that wee bit of play in it.
And it seems to be flush over the what do you call that wheel?
That's the crank wheel.
The crank wheel. And this is the flywheel at the front. So how can we tell if this is aligned correctly? This front wheel.
We tell this from the front.
Okay.
Basically, we look down the flywheel and judge it by the frame at the bottom.
Okay, so
you want that running flush.
This is just done with your eye.
Yeah.
And
or you could get two spacers.
And I
said spacers.
You could use spacers as well, as Nell said. Or and it's best maybe to actually let the wheel roll around, so you would actually be able to detect if there's any movement in it, and in this case there's not. Okay, so what would we do if the belt was too loose?
If the belt's too loose, basically you need to untighten the main big nut on the wheel. And then
okay, the main nut on the flywheel, yeah.
And then you use these little nuts here. Them's your belt tensioners.
Okay. They're your belt tensioners. So
they're your belt tensioners. You need to loosen these on both sides.
Okay, so both sides. So here and
sides.
On the other side, which has a cap over it, but it will be just the same if we were to remove that cap. So basically, if we were to tighten that belt, these are the two tighteners. Okay, so just check these are tight. We just like to check that every bolt is tight as well. Okay, so there was a bit of play in that bolt.
Cover off this side. Same thing on this side.
Okay.
See, that was a little bit loose as well.
And that's just turned clockwise like any other normal bolt.
Check our tensioners are tight.
Okay, let's see this up close.
Make sure these butts,
Can you just move your hand back a wee second there to see what you're doing?
Basically, just check that these bolts are both tight.
Okay.
If they're not,
so that effectively is pulling this ring this direction. And
if you tighten this up,
the belt.
if you tighten this up, that pulls the wheel this way, which actually tightens the belt.
It pulls the two wheels apart and therefore tightens the belt. And makes the riding experience a lot better. Okay.
Tight.
So can we just check all the bolts on the feet are tight? On next, we can see that the body of the bike is bolted on the 2 feet frames, and we'll just check if they're tight.
tight.
Okay, so at this stage would we be looking to, would we check the crank bolt, or does that come under the service?
Basically,
I don't know.
how you check the crank on the bike.
Yep.
Pull that up. Start your crank here. Check for any play at all.
And how are you doing that?
You rock the crank back and forward.
Back and forward,
Back
right?
and forward.
Towards you,
Towards
or back
me.
and forward towards
Back
the wheel?
and forward.
This way, okay. So,
You shouldn't feel any play at all on there.
okay, and
That's
what,
tight.
if there is any play, what would that suggest?
If there's any play in that, it suggests either the bottom bracket or the bearings in the bottom bracket
Need replaced, okay.
Yeah. And that's
And
just due to use.
You would just call Prima Fitness in that instance, and we would fix that. Okay, so if you want to reattach the cover, which is really designed to prevent sweat from getting onto the belt. So as we see, we want the same. We want to put it on the same way we took it off. So if we can get it in through the pedal to begin with. Now, would we normally use silicone spray to spray anything down here?
We do all that last. We lubricate everything last.
Okay, so if this was a chain-driven belt, we would have already sprayed in the chain, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Although in this case, with
Don't need no
the
lubrication
M
for that.
Sport, there's no lubrication needed.
No.
Okay, and basically it's just you just screw the cover back on again.
Yeah.
So we're at 12 minutes and we almost have a bike service. Although this actually is just a new bike and it doesn't actually need service, but it's just for demonstration purposes. What are you doing there now, Niall?
Just putting the covers back on the flywheel.
Okay, just covering up the screws in the flywheel to prevent them from rust from sweat.
So, now we lubricate all the moving seat parts, the handlebars, the seats,
Okay, yep.
and we use silicone flat.
So it's a silicone based spray.
Yeah.
Is it not WD-40?
No, we don't use WD-40, we use silicone.
Okay. And silicone is the preferred.
Yeah, it's easier on metal.
Okay. So if we can set this to a height that you can get on, Niall, so we normally suggest that the seat goes to hip height for the rider. The final test really is the test of getting on it. So if you don't see our engineers getting on the bikes, then phone us and tell us that they haven't fully serviced the bike. Okay, so that's set at top height now. Now, and he's tightening the pop pin in. And if you can get on the bike. And you can't hear with the radio in the background, but I can take it up closer. It is almost as silent as any bike that you're ever going to hear. And that's it. Shows you tightening it. This is the resistance being increased, so it's getting more difficult. Okay, and release, decrease the resistance now. And then just do an emergency stop, which is the yellow section. Okay, the only final thing would be to check these front roller wheels that they're but you can kind of check that with your eye. If you want, you can. Our engineers will always check that the nuts and bolts are on tight, but these ones should be anyway. Yep, fine.
That's basically a bike service.
Okay, so that's the Gym Gear M Sport Bike Service by Prima Fitness. Thank you now.